Hello and welcome to Talking Wrestling with Pondwater Dave. I'm your host, Pondwater Dave, and with me tonight is the First Lady of the Arn Anderson Fan Club, Miss Amy Vaughn.
Hello, hello.
And sitting in with us tonight for the vacationing Justin Davis is our really, really good friend, the greatness that is Andrew Hermes. Andrew, welcome.
Thank you, Dave. Amy, first order
Yes,
of
sir.
business. Light my candles because we're going to have a good time.
They're already lit. That's why I was late because I was busy doing that, making sure that God knows and forgives.
We
So,
have new fire permits, Dave. This is a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Our candle section's on bonfire status.
I mean, the
yeah,
fire marshal's getting real serious about this. So,
exactly. I mean, but it's a good thing that me and the Lord.
at this point, would an eternal flame for all your friends be better? I mean, that's what I'm just wondering. Not
I
that we want to
mean,
be celebrated like Lenin or anything or the Olympics, but I mean, at this point, shouldn't you just be burning something 100% of the time?
who
And
says
I
I
know
don't?
this is for me, by the way.
Well, I was gonna say, how do you know I don't? I might
Hey,
have something already going every day.
candles get expensive. Let's start a GoFundMe.
Uh, That's true. They do. They do. You'd
Well,
ask
how was
anybody at my church every Sunday. I go up there and light y'all some candles.
how was everybody's week?
Go ahead,
Andrew,
Amy.
how about you?
No,
Well,
go
as I say,
ahead.
you're our guest, Andrew. It's been good. It's been a little crazy because, as you all know, I work with the school system, and we're wrapping everything up. So our kids are no longer there, but you still have all that paperwork and little things to do. So only have 3 days left. So um, I'm tired today. I kind of came in on two wheels because I was having to try to get a bunch of stuff, little stuff done. But I'm looking forward. I get to hang with some of my besties in a couple weeks, and that is what is propelling me uh, to the finish line.
Well, we had a really sick. Oh, what about you, Andrew?
Oh, no, everything's fine. I took a job promotion about 12 days ago, and am deep into the rebuild of a franchise store of ours in our auto group. So, I'm officially the sales manager of the position and the general manager in waiting. So,
Oh, cool.
um, I will be the next man up to lead the store. But a lot of that was decided in the last 14 days, and so I've been working to try to do some more rebranding, marketing, etc. And then it came up last night about that fire in Canada. Um, Yesterday was awful here, the air
Oh,
quality.
really?
And people were
Really?
staying inside. It's gone that far. Yeah, it's miles.
Now tell everybody where you are, just so they
I'm in
can kind
East,
of get.
so I'm in eastern North Carolina, 85 miles from the beach. Like
Hmm.
you can get to Morehead City from my house in less than an hour and a
He
half.
said Moorhead.
Yeah, Morehead. You want Wilmington, you can get there in 2 hours, but Morehead is faster. All right. I
So
told
it's
you, light the
that's
candles.
interesting. I know, but that's interesting that like you're in North Carolina. I mean, I think a lot of people are seeing it. They're thinking Eastern. I mean, but you're even seeing things. I mean, it's not going to be long, Pondwater, before you and I, start seeing things
Yeah, if
in
the jet
air.
stream carries it. Yeah, so the jet stream's carrying it from the north to the south, and it goes, of course, west to east
Hmm.
in an angling pattern across the United States. So that's right. Right now, half the country can actually see the fires from Canada. And
Isn't
Well,
that crazy?
if
did
you're
you
in the
see the
Northeast,
videos
where
from
some
New
of our
York?
friends are, yeah, they're
Yes.
horrible.
Man,
Mm.
I
It
mean,
doesn't
I
even
saw a
look.
Times Square video, and then there was a woman that posted what her normal view from New Jersey is, and then she posted it again, the same view.
Hmm.
Yep.
It's
I
man,
think our friend of ours, Allison Faye, who lives up in the eastern seaboard, I guess, she was just saying how I think her son's school, some of his outdoor activities were canceled. And, I mean, it's really tough up there. I mean, you just never know, right?
yeah.
What's gonna be going on? Who had that on their bingo card? Wildfires in Canada,
Yeah, no.
not just wildfires, wildfires
Well,
in
like
Canada.
like they said like they've always said on South Park, blame Canada.
We could probably sing that little song later.
Hey, but we came off a successful fundraiser this past weekend. The telethon that the FFP podcast put together featured. We kicked it off at 12:30. KOC was on there. The Saved by the Pod reunion.
Awesome.
Top Guy Theater got back together for it. There was Amy jumped in there later in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was roughing it up. Brian Hebner and Dave and the QC. Dave and the QC had some really hot wrestling opinions, and I'm just amazed that Brian Hebner didn't bust a blood vessel and have an aneurysm. It was really uncomfortable. I'm just thinking.
Have we seen Brian? Are we sure that didn't happen?
It was some tense listening the last few minutes of that section, but we raised, I think it was right around 18,000 altogether.
Yeah, I think so. I know that there are still some, some money coming in just from the people different who did the bids. I mean, we even raised Pondwater. We raised over $500.
We raised over $600
for us, for our show.
Yeah, because the items that we did with the booth.
Oh, okay, yes, yes,
$400 with the show.
That's what I mean. That's what I was talking about. I was just thinking about the show. Like, we actually have people who bid money because they want to be on here with us. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we Frank Bruno bid $200, and his episode's going to be next week. Mm-hmm. We'll go ahead and give you a preview. We're going to do Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho from WrestleMania 19.
Excellent choice.
Exactly.
But Mike Bober and Eddie Prather were locked in a bidding war, and they got up to 100, and Amy came up with a great idea about letting them have the episode if they wanted to go ahead and make their donation. So, Bruno was the star of the show, and Bober and Eddie jumped in there too. And so we're going to let our fans have 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Then,
all for a good cause.
But all together with our items, the Cody action figure and the Cody chase and the boot, we raised $635.
Awesome. Yeah, that was an awesome thing, and so happy to be happy and proud to be part of it. And so, I know there's still some things out there. I mean, Anthony Pyrus plans to shave his head if it gets up to a certain amount, and there's still people out there that's trying to fundraise and do whatever they can. And like I said, I think that's a great thing. So,
if you go to the FFP's YouTube page, the whole thing is still on there, and there was a lot of good content over that 12 hours.
Definitely. And again, if you've never seen Saved by the Pod, that was it like at 8 to 9, I think, Central Standard Time.
That was incredible.
That's incredible. If you ever wanted to know what is Reffing It Up like, or Kick Out Crew, or Top Guy Theater, because I think they are going to do some more episodes. This gives you a chance to kind of see what they're all about, and see if you might want to continue listening to them. So it's a great stream.
Well, unfortunately, we lost a legend this week. The Iron Sheik, Sheiky baby, passed away at the age of 81. Tremendous wrestler, legitimate wrestler. You'll hear stories from guys in the 80s, in the late 70s, early 80s, and they all say the same thing: Sheik stretched me. Stretched me. I heard Dr. Tom say it. Kevin Von Erich said it for years, that Sheik helped train him, and he said that he was just a tremendous performer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna defer to Andrew because he made some incredible points about Sheik this week that I would love for our listeners to hear.
I appreciate that, Pondwater. Opening it up, Sheik, obviously, You said it. He's a legit badass. I mean, what people don't understand is, the man was a private security guard for Shah Reza II. He was a royal guard in Iran in the 50s, and I guess it'd be the 60s. Um, so he was his one of his secret service or secret police or whatever you want to call them, and had the opportunity to come and try out for the World Games and the Olympics. If you are an Olympic wrestler, you are a certified badass. And yeah, Kurt Angle won the Olympics with a broken freaking neck. But anybody that can wrestle at that level, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, freestyle wrestling, running sprints, doing bike work, puking your brains out. I mean, Sheik was certified badass. So he joins the American Olympic team, the national team, coaching, etc., etc. Um, and actually left Iran altogether. Good thing for him. As a member of Shah Reza II military guard, had he stuck around for the Iranian Revolution, he probably would have been executed. That, along with all of his family. So, Sheik coming to the United States to be an amateur wrestling coach may have saved his life, in all sincerity. But to
Didn't
his
Vern
dad,
Gagne sponsor him?
I was just going to say it.
Oh,
Vern Gagne is where he got his start in the AWA, and he started with your favorite professional wrestler, the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
That's
They were
right.
they were actually in the same class, and he would go on to train Vern Gagne's son Greg and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So that's where Sheiky Baby started teaching, and then of course he's completely. Keep in mind the political situation in the 70s was very ominous as it concerned Iran. You had civil war. You had people being murdered in the streets. The Shah Khomeini fomenting revolution from Paris. Um, but he chooses to take this. Somebody had suggested it. I forget who it was. I've got my notes here, but I forget who it was that he worked. Yeah, it was working with Gagne's camp, and it was suggested that he become the Iron Sheik. So he grew the mustache, he shaved the head. He ended up feuding with Jumpin' Jim Brazil, but the point to say any of that was that Sheik took on this very political character. These people are holding hostages. For 444 days, they're holding Americans hostage in Iran. And the Sheik is going out working the territories and the towns as, yes, he's a certified badass, but that doesn't stop a bullet. I mean, he literally is portraying this character, and until January the 20th of 1981, those hostages remained. That's when Reagan took office, and of course the hostages get released. But Sheik had already made that name, and then of course he goes to the WWE and he becomes a heel. He wrestles Bob Backlund, and this is the part Pondwater Nation. I just laid that foundation so everybody knew Sheik's upbringing. Is the Iron Sheik becomes the bridge between the WWF, and the WWF because they're never going to put Backlund against Hogan. And so you have Sheik beat Backlund with the camel clutch at Madison Square Garden. And on January the 23rd, Hulkamania is born. And the Iron Sheik becomes the greatest transitional champion in WWF history.
Mhm. I think, Andrew, if I may, something that's really ironic that happened is that this past Sunday, the Iron Sheik's autobiography was on A&E. And so I watched
Mm-hmm.
it, it just happened to be on and kind of reminded me. I'm sure it wasn't a new one that they had come out. I know I've seen it before. I want to say it was Vern Gagne's wife that gave him. It was a woman who gave him the Iron Sheik name, and I want to say it was maybe Vern Gagne's wife that gave him that name. Uh, just everything that you said, Andrew, it's a fascinating story. And like you said, this was back in the late 70s where kayfabe was kayfabe. And so and we have all heard the stories. Ole Anderson got stabbed. They're throwing batteries. People are getting pelted with things. The bad guys are going down with police and security so that someone doesn't jab them with a knife or it was like you said, it was very, very real. So he had to really, um, he knew that this was probably a huge gamble, but if it paid off, it would do wonders for his career. Just like you said, I mean, he was hated. There were literally Americans that were being held captive by the Iranians. And then here he is coming out saying, American, spitting. And I mean, had the Iranian flag, like just absolutely incinerating anybody. We're not that far from the Vietnam War. And so, as in, America, I think, is always patriotic anyway. But I mean, you're really getting into, you're really messing with a lot of people. They're burning the American flag in Iran, and then here you have this wrestler of who's having matches that you believe are real and are beating up your American, or good guys. So I mean, it's just a wonder
and
he
there's nothing
lived.
more American. There was nothing more American than Bob Backlund. I mean, that
Oh
was
yeah,
that howdy doody, good old. I mean, good guy, golly gee whiz, beaver cleaver,
Well,
squeaky image, and I mean, this guy was, he was. I mean, he was all American,
definitely.
I'll
and
only
they
correct you,
actually
Pondwater, because there was one thing more American, and that was Hogan. But they didn't know it until it.
yes.
Right.
Well,
Vince had
and
no
then
Vince had no idea Hulk Hogan was going to work. Not to the degree it did, where he's going to put the company on his back. And from January 23rd, 1984, until February the 5th, 1988, he's going to be the WWF champion,
Exactly.
uninterrupted.
leading up
But
to the title change, where the Sheik beat Backlund, the Sheik liked to do these tests of strength. Backlund always, his deal was the Harvard step test, where he
Mm-hmm.
could do these stairs and keep his heart rate at a certain level. And the Iron Sheik had these clubs. I don't remember what they call them, but they're these huge clubs that weigh about
Persian clubs,
Persian
isn't that what
he
clubs.
they're?
They're
called them
like
the
100,
Persian clubs. That's
Yeah.
exactly what he called them.
like 100 pounds each.
Yep.
He's waving them, and you got it. There's a method to it, and he got Backlund to do it, and Backlund hurt his back. So Backlund had damaged his back doing these Persian clubs. The camel clutch is what the Iron Sheik's destroying everybody with, and that's and Backlund did not submit. Arnold Skoland, his manager, threw in the towel. So Backlund was supposed to get the rematch at Madison Square Garden, January 23rd, 1984, and was pulled in favor of Hulk Hogan that night. So
And he disappeared for
the
9
seniors
years.
plan got changed by junior. And as the legend has it, Vern Gagne called the Iron Sheik and offered him a large amount of money to break Hogan's leg.
100 grand,
I
they said.
100% believe that
100
Gagne did that. I have no problem believing Gagne did that, but Sheik did business, and the rest was history.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the first time I saw WWF live, the first time they came to Dallas, the main event was Hulk Hogan versus the Iron Sheik for the title. They were still doing that on the loop the first time. Second time I saw him, he was with Volkov.
Oh,
And
no,
they may have been the tag champions. They may have been the tag champions the second time I saw him.
I was trying
did.
to I was channeling Bruce singing how he does it on his show. Mr. Pritchard, like I know
Well,
Bruce, I should be calling him first.
I mean, you killed it, but they're the hills in that region right now, so we don't care what they think about us butchering up their anthem.
Oh, here. It's so funny. The other thing, again, I'm going to go back to the documentary. What I loved is he he seemed to be like his persona in the ring was very different from at home. He was a great family man. He loved kids. You know, Andrew, you alluded to it. I mean, he came from a very poor area, and his family moved, I think, more into the city, and then he got to do Greco-Roman wrestling, and so he kind of knew like what life was like without stuff, and what life could be with stuff. But he was married to his wife for like I think like 47 years. I think that's what they said. Uh, and they had 3 children, and one of his children, one of his oldest daughter was actually murdered at the age of 28. And, you know, I think that was in the 2000s. I have to look at the exact date. But again, here we have someone that is a complete heel, has the curled shoes, like always like hitting on his toe, like he's loading it, like doing all these heel things. But then, he has his daughter was murdered by her boyfriend. And so, there's a trial and just, I mean, he had to do all of that. Um, I say behind closed doors, but you know what I'm saying? Like he had this persona that he was very different, but I mean, he has grandchildren. And like I said, I've seen some people who've been posting some different things about the Sheik, and um, he really loved kids, and obviously that's probably more in the older days when kayfabe kind of let loose a little bit. But I think that he, like you said, he was a tremendous athlete, and I think he had a resurgence. Even after his wrestling career.
Well,
you
yeah,
know,
he did, but I mean, his last, I think the last time he wrestled was WrestleMania 17 in the Gimmick Battle Royal,
And he
which we've
won
learned,
it.
you
which
call
we've
that
learned from Bruce
wrestling?
Pritchard. The reason he won it is because he wasn't in any kind of shape to be thrown over the top rope.
Exactly.
But
Stop it,
then
Cheeky Baby won fair and square.
and then he had his drug. I mean, he had his demons,
Oh, well,
and
yes, I didn't mean to say he didn't. I'm
no,
just
I mean,
saying
but hey, he came out. He came out of it though, and I mean,
Mm-hmm.
his later years, he was clear headed and enjoying his life. So he came out good on the other side. In 81's a good long life.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's not. We don't need to. It's not poor Sheiky. I mean, we need.
No.
This
And
man had a good life and needs to
and
be celebrated. Definitely
and
needs to
I
be
was gonna say,
celebrated.
let's face it, he lived. I mean, we talked about it last night. The Michael Hayes joke with the drugs. He tested positive. She thought that was a good thing. Absolutely
Yeah, he.
wonderful story. But the one I love better than that one, honestly, is the one I like actually because WCW wasn't using him and let his contract roll, and he got another 100 grand or whatever it was to not do any. I mean, they forgot about him, and his
Yeah,
contract rolls, and she keeps getting paid after
Mhm.
after the contract rolled, and to me that was hysterical.
yeah. I
Can't
mean,
blame him.
then he went through that phase where everybody was winding him up. I mean, his gimmick was just to trash.
Yes.
And we listened to a clip last night from the Howard Stern show that did not age well.
Mm.
I mean, it really did not age well. But you know, but he's also, I guess you could say that he's a true pioneer with social media. Because just his little tweets, I mean, when he tweets something, I mean, it's F bomb city, but
And you know what, though? Again, if you
it's
watch
been
that,
relevant since 2013.
right, if you watch the documentary, you will see it's his nephews. They're on the documentary. I think they're labeled as family member or whatever, but those 2 guys that are in the documentary are his nephews, and they're the ones. They take his words, but like he's not tweeting, you know.
No, of course not.
But I
But
mean,
you ain't
they're
never,
tweeting. Yes. I mean, it's
but you've
in
never
his
read
persona.
F Hogan without hearing it in Sheiky's voice.
Oh, definitely.
Exactly.
No. That's what I mean. I mean, they're under his name, but like they're a big part of, like you said, him. I didn't want to say the F word. That's why I was hesitating. I was
Well,
like, I
think
don't want
about
to
it.
say that, but
He's
um,
probably one of the few people when you read his tweets, you might, if you read them out loud, you are actually trying to imitate how he
oh,
says them.
definitely,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. You hear it in his voice. Like that's one of those things, like you said, when you're reading it, you're hearing him say that because you've heard him say those kind of things. So, yeah, definitely a celebrated, a family man. Like you said, he had his demons, he's overcome them, and he's lived quite the life. That is quite the life that he has led. From Iran, like you said, to the Shah, to leaving it all behind to go and be um, a coach for Greco-Roman wrestling, to being introduced to um, a way to make more money than just an amateur wrestler, to what we, like you said, the transitional champion that really, people may not remember who Sheik beat, but they remember the Sheik. And they remember the Russian, Nikolai Volkov and the Sheik together during that Cold War time or whatever. Those were some heels. He was on the Rock and Wrestling show. Iron Sheik was. He was a character there. So again, that's how I mean, there was a lot of wrestlers that weren't on that. So I mean, that's what the WWF felt about him and his character. He won the gimmick battle royal. Uh,
And to add something, Amy, since you're talking about the golden era, he had his LGN figure.
yep.
Yes.
Sheik was one of the only heels had an
hmm
LGN figure,
He
and it's a
was.
big
Could
deal
you
because I
imagine a
Yeah.
mean,
19? Could you imagine a 1983 Iron Sheik versus a 1997 Kurt Angle?
no, go 99 or 2000
Yeah,
Kurt Angle, but
probably okay.
badass,
That would be.
badass.
I mean, because we still had it. I like how on the gimmick battle royal, as he was coming down the aisle, Bobby Heenan was like, he'll finally get to the ring by WrestleMania 38 or something because
Yeah,
everybody
it's
kept
hilarious.
passing him. Oh, that was good. If you've never watched the A&E biography on the Iron Sheik, I definitely encourage you to do that. If you've never seen the gimmick battle royal at WrestleMania, what do you say, 17?
17. It was in Houston.
Adjust your mic, Amy. We're losing you.
Sorry. Um, Definitely go see that. Look at Ben Jones. Oh no, who had it? Terry had it. Had the Volkov and Sheik figures.
Well,
Do you know
There
where
you
they?
go.
Do you know where they are, Terry? I'm sorry, I got it now.
all right. Well,
Sorry.
rest well, sir. Rest well.
Hold on, Dave. One other thing, because I had Amy light candles specifically for this. We
Yeah.
we
Preemptive
we could
candles. That's really bad.
preemptive candles. I had it done before the show, and
Woo.
she's got the fire extinguisher next to her. But we could not forget Sheik's contributions to the gay community, and that is the greatest pickup line ever, and that's "I'll break your back and
And
make you
make you
humble."
humble.
And you're welcome. I knew she'd laugh. I knew I would get her. I knew I would get her.
Oh man. All right, before we go to trivia, let's welcome everybody in that's riding with us in the chat tonight,
That's
watching
a
us
lot.
on YouTube, Facebook, and on the Twitter machine. We got Terry Weaver. We got Eddie Prather, who's really, really off the rails tonight. Ben
He just
Jones
got
from
off
Down
work,
Under.
he said.
Carl Bramlett's here. Uh,
Oh, I know.
thanks for joining us tonight, guys. And without further ado, we're going to pitch it to Amy.
Pitch it. Woo! Look at that. Y'all like that? Trivia time with Amy
She is big market. She is big time.
on the Talking Wrestling with Pondwater Dave. Yeah, I like that, don't you?
I do like that.
I really do.
All,
Yeah, that turned out well.
all, yeah, it did, didn't it? So, all right. So,
Our producer is earning her pay.
Oh, she gets paid? What? I don't get
Yeah.
paid. No.
Don't forget, you got to pay taxes on that, Amy.
Oh, that's true. I'll just keep working for free. It'd be fine. Um, so for you all out there, I believe I can't remember if you said it or not, Pondwater. I'm sorry. We are talking about WCCW uh, for the next couple episodes, not next week because Frank's going to be on with us, but we're going to explore a year of WCCW, correct?
1983 is my favorite year in wrestling. We were going to just jump in and do July, and then I said no. I tell you what, we're just going to cover World Class in 1983.
Yes.
So we're going to spend a lot of time over the next 26 episodes. I mean, we'll give y'all a break here or there and throw something else in, but I mean, we're
Right.
going to drill down. We're going to drill down a year of World Class television,
And
and I'm
so,
excited to do it. And
yes.
it's the best year to me because David Von Erich was still alive. The Von Erich Freebird feud got kicked off. I mean, the area was on fire.
It had just gotten kicked off, right? Because that happened
Yeah.
at Christmas, the whole slamming of
Yeah,
the
we're covering
right.
tonight's the fallout from Christmas.
Awesome. So I want you all to go back. Some of you all were still in your daddies probably at this point, but we're all going back to 1983. Okay. And so we are going
Still
to
in your
do.
daddies got me.
I qualify. Pops,
I
Still-
was
but
gonna
legit.
say,
Still
I
in
was
your
gonna
daddies is going to
say-
be one of our first T-shirts if we ever get merch.
still in your daddy. Well, I'm looking at the list. Carl, I think you're young. Ben, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure Terry and Eddie, I know Eddie was alive, and I know Terry was alive, but I don't know about Ben and Ben was in first grade. Oh, okay, he might get some of this trivia. Carl, oh gosh, he's gonna make me do math. I don't. Were you around? That terrible.
If Carl's 38, he was born in 1985.
Oh well, then never mind, Carl. Y'all can just go ahead and listen. All right, now the producer and I have been working on a few things, so we're gonna try this out. Sorry.
You got a little button there called the mute that you can push. when you're
I
coughing.
know.
So much for the producer.
You ain't lying.
Sorry. I get all flustered, I guess. All
That's
right.
all right. All the greats cough on the air.
Thank you. Well, we are going to do
And eat on
happenings.
the air too during food for children. Whatever that was, Flair was eating the kimchi during. Talking about the starving kids. The irony.
I don't even know what the hell kimchi is. I thought kimchi was Kamala's handler.
It's like
He was.
fermented root vegetable. Well, not root vegetables. It's like fermented like cabbage and pickled, like pickled cabbage and I'm trying to think of the other. I mean, I don't think it's lettuce. I don't know, but that kind of stuff. That's what kimchi.
You know how
is,
you make
like
pickled bread?
fermented. I'm afraid to ask.
Dildo.
Oh, Jesus. All because I said some of y'all were still with your dad. No. All righty. Happenings in 1983, January, February, March edition. Who was the governor of Texas in 1983? Was it Mark White, James Blanchard, Bruce Babbitt, or Bill Clements? Now, Pondwater, you were close to voting age. You should be knowing this kind of stuff.
I know exactly who the governor was. That was Bill Clements.
I was going to say D, but I had no idea. It sounds like a familiar name.
Sounds like it. Well, I will tell you this. Technically, Mark White and Bill Clements are correct answers. Bill Clements was the 42nd governor who lost re-election to Mark White. So technically, Mark White did not begin his term for governor until January 18th, 1983. So Bill Clements finished up in 1983. So very good way to start it off.
There was
I
a
was really
Wrestling
I got a
lingo
fun
for
Texas history.
politics.
I got a fun Texas history story. We had a governor named Jim Hogg.
Jim Hogg, Governor Hogg.
Governor Hogg.
Pops, Governor
No.
Hogg.
Governor Hogg had twin daughters.
Oh gosh.
This gets better and better.
He named them Ima and Ura.
Mm.
Stop it.
What's their middle names?
I don't know, but I'm a hog and you're a hog. And that's a true story. That guy had a sense of humor.
No, those children are in therapy and have been for a very long time, I bet. I'm a hog, you're a hog.
They didn't have therapy back in the 1800s.
1800s? Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know it was that long
This isn't
ago.
recent.
Well, I didn't know. Poor things. All right. Next
That was a
question.
story from Texas history. I love Texas history in middle school, and that story
Yes.
always popped me.
I
And
bet.
when we go to Dallas, she was still in her daddy. Whenever we go to Dallas, there's an exit, the Jim Hogg exit.
I'm a
I had way too much fun with Governor Hogg and the twin daughters.
No kidding. Is that the
That's
only
where we're
children?
at.
I mean, is there more? What else could he have named those other kids?
If he
I'm
had a
looking-
son, he could have named him. He could have named him Big.
Big Hog. We're going to have to look that up now, kids. All right. Second question. What musical performed for the last time after 2,377 shows on January 2nd, 1983 at the Alvin Theater on Broadway? Was it Cats, Guys and Dolls, Annie, or Biloxi Blues? There was a musical.
It's
Okay.
Cats.
Wrong. It was The Sun'll Come Out.
Oh, it's Annie?
Oh, it was Annie?
Yes, it was Annie.
Okay.
JD
I'm
got
reading
in
that
here.
and I'm thinking there was a theater in Alvin, Texas.
No, that's Broadway.
Oh,
Alvin
no,
Lee
I
on
didn't-
Broadway, yeah.
All right.
Okay, number 3. Who defeated the Miami Dolphins to win Super Bowl? What was that? 17. Was it Detroit Lions, the Washington Redskins, and we're just going with the name that they would have had back in 83, the Dallas Cowboys, or the Los Angeles Raiders?
83.
Had to be the Redskins, wasn't it?
Man, I feel like it was the Raiders.
Because Los Angeles only won Super Bowl 11 with Madden.
Then it was the Washington Redskins.
Very good. However, Andrew, your logic is flawed. But you got the right answer. It was the Washington Redskins. They won with a score of 27-17. The Washington Redskins won their first ever Super Bowl championship on January 30th of 1983. They did return the next year, so Super Bowl 18, to defend their championship, but they were defeated by the Los Angeles Raiders 9-38. So the Los Angeles Raiders.
I thought the Raiders had won a Super Bowl around 83 or 84 because there was a video game that would actually show footage from the games, and you'd pick the plays.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember seeing the videos of Pluckett and Lyle Alzado, John Mazuzak. I mean,
yeah, I never thought the Los Angeles Raiders had one other than with Madden in 11. But, I mean, good for them.
Yeah, they did.
I didn't realize
the video game's the only reason I'm remembering that they were featured in that video. I mean, and I thought they'd had some success to be there.
Yeah, they like I said, they beat them pretty good, 9-38. But I don't know. So they won 11 and 18. I have no idea if they've won any more, but they did win Super Bowl 18. Okay, this is my next favorite one. All right. Can you name the top 5 songs on the Billboard Hot 100 for the week of January 15th, 1983? Now, I do have some hints if you feel like you need them.
Yeah, I wasn't even born. I was not out of my father yet, Amy. Thank you.
You're still with your daddy. All right, here we go. Here are your hints. Australia, a duet, a chore, a girl that gets what she wants, and alternative medicine. Those are your clues.
I want a new drug. Huey Lewis in the News.
No, but a great guess. Great guess.
Let's see. Australia. Men at Work would be.
She's nodding, so you got it. You're on to it. But I don't know what they
It's
sang.
Men at Work. It would be. Is it Overkill?
Mm-mm. Look at what Ben Jones wrote.
I Come from the Land Down Under.
Yes, Down Under. That was actually number 1. And a duet. A
That was
Yeah,
chore.
Bad
Ladies.
Medicine came around 85. A duet. Was it Somewhere Out There from An American Tale?
Mm-mm. I don't think that was 83, do you? I don't think so.
I don't know. I'm trying to guess now. A duet.
Or a chore. Or a girl that gets what she wants. Because look out, because here she comes. An alternative medicine.
Yeah, look out, here she comes. She's a
The
man-eater.
Man Eater.
Very good. Good. Yay!
And Say wasn't 83.
But what else did they do?
The Girl Is Mine.
Very good. That's your duet. That would be Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson. The Girl
Right.
Is Mine. That was number 2.
No
So
clue.
you're looking for the chore and alternative medicine.
Working for the weekend?
No. Andrew, you're gonna love the alternative medicine.
Cocaine.
Must be
No.
it's either
Oh.
Cocaine or Last Dance with Mary Jane.
No, that's not what I meant.
Well, you said I'd love it. I'm on record.
I know.
All right, we give. We're tapping out on this one.
Sexual healing.
Of course it is.
Sexual Healing was
Hey,
83.
baby.
I like how
Yep.
I got called out for it, and all the thirsty bitches listening to us like that too. What's wrong with you?
And then, okay, so I'm sorry. It was Down Under by Men at Work. The Girl Is Mine, Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney. Dirty Laundry by Don Henley. He had left the Eagles, I guess. Man Eater by Hall & Oates. And Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye. Now, unfortunately, in a little bit over a year, Marvin Gaye would actually be killed by his own father on
Yes, he would.
April 1st, 1984. He was intervening in an argument that his mother and father were having.
Yep.
And
Oh, I thought it was like, oh, the gun was loaded. April Fools.
No, definitely not.
bad.
Definitely
But-
not.
Oh, too soon?
Do what?
Too soon?
Too soon. So then he was intervening. So then him and his dad got into a fist fight. And then his dad came back into his room and shot him twice in the chest. So,
Damn.
yeah. And I don't really think I don't believe his dad. I think he was found not guilty, which just blows me away because he walked away to
Blows
get the
you
gun
away.
and come back. Oh, God, that was terrible. Oh my gosh. That was
insensitive.
that was very insensitive of me. I'm very sorry.
Hey,
All right.
I don't get a pass on a lot of things, but gunshot humor is my deal, okay?
That is very
That's my gimmick, okay?
You are true. I'm very sorry. I need to back off that. All right.
Again,
Number
Marvin
5.
Gaye,
Number
blown
5.
away. What else do I have to say? We did.
All right. This movie was number 1 in the box office in the USA for the first 10 weekends of 1983 until High Road to China, starring Tom Selleck, Bess Armstrong, and Wilford Brimley, overtook it the weekend of March 20th. Name that movie.
No idea, but shout out to Polly B on the Wilford Brimley. We love it.
Diabetes.
Was it Gremlins?
Scissors. Nope, it's not Gremlins.
Was it E.T.?
Nope,
Was it Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan?
nope. Eddie, no, that is not correct.
3 Men and a Baby.
Guys, I have no idea. You're hitting me with questions. I thought we were doing wrestling trivia.
I live for this shit, and I don't know it. We're
Well,
on question 5 out of 11. I'll tap.
All right. The answer is Tootsie.
Nope.
Okay.
Have you know?
Urban Cowboy was 1980. Eddie. I went to the movies and saw Tootsie. That was a good movie.
Yeah, it was released in December 17th, 1982, and was noted as a satirical romantic comedy starring Bill Murray, Gina Davis, Jessica Lange, Dabney Coleman, and Dustin Hoffman. It had quite the.
I'll say, how the hell have I never seen this movie with that cast?
You should.
Really good.
That one needs to be on your list of stuff. You need to do that. All right, number 6. The Daytona 500 is a 500-mile NASCAR Cup. The Daytona 500. It is a 500-mile NASCAR Cup Series motor race held annually at the Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. It is regarded as the most important and most prestigious race on the NASCAR calendar. Who won the Daytona 500 on February 20th, 1983? Was it?
I want to say it was Richard Petty got his 200th win, and Reagan was there.
I was going to say Richard Petty because that's the only name I know other than Cale Yarborough.
You know 2 names on the list? You know Richard Petty and Cale Yarborough?
Yeah, Yarborough sticks out for some reason, and I don't know why.
Well, you live in the Carolinas, so you.
True.
Most that you ought to get some of these.
Left turn. It falls right above hockey and right below Bret Hart. So what do I care?
All right. Well, Andrew, you should have gone with your gut because it was Cale Yarborough.
Richard Petty was in 84.
I was going to say, well, no. Then I'll tell you why. In the 28 car sponsored by Hardee's, Cale Yarborough took the checkered flag in 3 hours, 12 minutes, and 20 seconds with an average speed of 155.9 miles per hour. He is one of only 2 drivers in NASCAR history to win 3 consecutive NASCAR Cup Series championships, winning in 1976, 1977, and 1978. He actually has won the Daytona race 4 times. He won it in 68, 77, 83, and 84. So he actually won that in 84. Do you have
been 82? Then Petty must have been 82 because I know Reagan was there.
Right. Well, you got to think Reagan had 8 years, so maybe even 85. I don't know. I do not know anything about NASCAR. So I can't give you this. But do you have any guesses? I said that he was one of only 2 drivers in NASCAR history to win 3 consecutive NASCAR Cup Series championships. Any guesses on who the other driver might be?
Has to be Richard Petty.
It is not Richard Petty, I'll tell you that.
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson.
It is Jimmy Johnson. He actually has 5 consecutive wins. He won 2006, 2007, and 2008. And then he went on to win 2009 and 2010. So he was pretty much the driver of that time period, it seems like. Yeah. Again, I don't know a whole lot about it, but
amazing team with Hendrick Motorsports. They did a good job there.
Yeah, they did.
Yes, even I can respect that.
Yes. And when I was researching this, all the different races and how you could win and boxcar and this square, it was just like, oh my goodness, I don't see how you keep up with it. So do you all like the questions on the screen like that?
I do.
Yes, but I don't like your questions because this is wrestling. Remember, wrestling with Pondwater Dave and friends.
I know, but we are going to be talking about. But we were going to talk about WCCW for
I'm popping for this
several
Cocaine Bear font
episodes.
too.
Huh?
I'm popping for this Cocaine Bear font.
That was
I
the
love it.
producer's choice, and I love it too. All right, so we have a few more questions, but we don't have them on. We just wanted to see how. Sorry, I got a cough.
Terry Weaver, I am not gonna cry.
Thank you.
Just
So
you're aware.
Well,
So
ask
now-
your questions.
Okay, now I got a cough again. Goodness gracious. This show debuted January 10th, 1983 on HBO. It focused on the interactions between four main species: silly creatures, gorgs, dozers, and fraggles within their
Fraggle
world.
Rock.
Fraggle Rock.
Fraggle Rock.
It was designed to entertain while encouraging and understanding and embracing diversity. It was created by Jim Henson, and the original series ran for 5 seasons. I love that show.
Oh, I did too.
Okay. Number 8. What new
I know
food
the
item?
I know the theme song.
Sing it.
No,
Oh, I've
That's
sang
another
twice
day.
on here.
Save it for another day.
What new food item, created by McDonald's first executive chef, became available nationwide in the USA in 1983?
McDLT.
No. Typically bought in groups of 4, it consists
Chicken
of the
nuggets.
item being in a bell shape, a bow tie shape, a ball shape, and a boot shape. Shapes that would ensure consistent cooking times for food safety. What'd you say,
And
Andrew?
it's chicken nuggets, but if I may, no
Yes.
motherfucker ever work at McDonald's is called an executive chef. Ever. Now, rate
Maybe
this show
in
for Keith,
1983.
but I'm just getting warmed up because we got to talk about the Von Erichs later.
Yes. I'm moving really fast. I'm sorry.
No, you're
No,
fine.
There was
I'm
just
saying,
a lot of.
I'm saying put the E for explicit, not everyone. Although if I'm involved, it is for everyone, but
M for
Yeah.
mature,
it
right?
needs to be M for mature, which I'm not. So, yeah. Continue on. No executive chefs at McDonald's.
Well, maybe they haven't had any more, but they had one, and he came up with the recipe. You know what though? That's funny if you think about it. I didn't realize they are different shapes. I mean, there are shapes to them, but now you know it's a bell, it's a bow tie. What did I say? A boot
And a
and a
ball.
bell and a
I
ball.
thought it looked more like the state of Florida than a boot, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess it depends on what you get. But anyway,
Well, look
On-
at that. McDonald's was a pioneer in boneless wings.
exactly.
Yeah, not man food. Coming from the gay guy on the representation tonight. But fuck.
On
Eat your shit
February-
bone in and chew the fucking, whatever the end of the bone out, the marrow. God.
Eat the
I'll teach you
marrow.
all.
On February 28th, 1983, the final TV episode of MASH aired on CBS. It was directed by Alan Alda, who played the character Hawkeye Pierce on the show. It was titled Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen. How many people on average in the U.S. watched this series finale? Was it 52 million, 76 million, 106 million, or 125 million? How many people watched this series? This is the number 1 most watched series finale in television history.
106 million seems to stick out to me.
Andrew, what you thinking?
I'm going with the 76.
It is actually 106 million people.
Damn.
The show received a 60.3 Nielsen rating. The average over the 2.5-hour show was 106 million people, with that number peaking at 121.6 million during the last 6 minutes. So an extra 20 million people started watching the show for the last 6 minutes.
I went to the Smithsonian Institute in 1984 during my spring break, my senior year, and they had just put the MASH exhibit had just gone up.
Really?
Yes.
That's absolute insanity, though. 1983, and you've got 106 million people watching one television show.
Mm-hmm. It like I said, it's the most watched, most viewed television broadcast in American history, with only the Super Bowls topping its number. The second most watched series finale is Cheers from
Mm.
1993, and I think it was like it might have been 90, or maybe it might have been 80, but it was Friends was like 52 million. So I mean, it was a big drop.
Big
Uh,
difference.
yeah, a big difference. Um, you know what? That's not true. I'm sorry. Cheers was the third most watched. The second most watched was The Fugitive from like 1968. So I'm sorry. That was my bad. Um,
Finally,
but
something wrestling related.
Still tell, yeah, exactly, with the mandible
Dr.
claw.
Sam Shepard based the fugitive is actually a wrestler.
yeah, well, yes, true. Okay. Number 10. Who was the NWA champion in January of 1983? Was it Carlos Colon, Ric Flair, Harley Race, or Dusty Rhodes?
Ric
I
Flair.
want to say it was. I want to say it was Dusty.
It was Ric Flair.
Was it?
However,
They just slammed the
he
door on Kerry's head on Christmas of
Oh
'82.
yeah, 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 yeah. Son of a bitch. I just
How
well,
did you
watched that.
miss that, Eddie?
well, I tell you what, Ric Flair did lose the title to Carlos Colon at a house show in San Juan, Puerto Rico, um, like
Sluggish.
January 8th. And then, but the title change was not recognized by the NWA. And
It's
then
one of the
4 days,
21. Yeah.
yeah, and then the 4 days later, Ric Flair wins the title back. So, at a house show. So again, that it is a little interesting there. So I got a bonus if you want to do that real quick because I know we're getting close to time. I'm sorry. Can you
I'm.
name the AWA and WWF champion in 1983?
Bob
Well,
Backlund and Nick Bockwinkel.
Yes, but you left off the Iron Sheik. The Iron Sheik won the belt December 26, 1983.
82. Yeah. 83.
So,
Yeah.
and again, like you had explained earlier, Bob Backlund's manager, Arnold Skolin, threw in the towel for Backlund when he was in the camel clutch, giving the Iron Sheik the win by submission. So you are correct about Nick Bockwinkel. He was the champion for the whole entire 1983 year. Bob Backlund was the WWF champion until he was defeated by the Iron Sheik, December 26, 1983.
And if
So,
I'm not mistaken, Hulk Hogan actually beat Nick Bockwinkel, and they didn't recognize the title change, and that's what led Hogan to go ahead and make that move.
yes, there was definitely. I know I've heard that too. There was some shenanigans there.
That's where he got the
So
name. Hulk was the AWA. That was Vern. That
mhm,
wasn't Vince.
yeah, no. So I like keeping you all on your toes. So that's the reason why we wanted to talk about 1983, since we're going to be talking about WCCW in that time period. I want you to know what else was going on. So,
That was fun. I don't know shit about 1983. Clearly, thanks, Dad. But it was that was fun.
yeah, you learned a little bit of something. One of those trivia questions is going to help you on a Trivial Pursuit game or something that you'll be doing, a bar game or something like that. It'll
I'm
help you
pretty
answer
sure
the
I went and
question.
saw Barry Manilow in January of '83.
Oh, where?
Fort Worth, Texas, Tarrant County Convention Center.
Sounds
Girlfriend
fun.
made me wear the Barry Manilow concert shirt to school the next day.
She made you. How did she make
Made me.
you?
She told me to
Made
do it,
me.
and I said yes.
Of course you
Oh,
did. Yeah.
did she buy it for you or did you have to buy it?
I'm pretty sure I bought it. Bought hers too.
Oh, aren't you? Oh, so y'all were like matchy? Did
Oh
she wear
yeah,
her shirt? Oh my gosh, she wore her
yeah.
shirt the next day. Y'all
Three
matched at
quarter sleeve,
school.
3/4 sleeve tee.
Oh. I
When
love it.
the guys were teasing me, they were going, Barry.
Please tell me there's a picture of this somewhere of you two cool chicks,
Because
cool
I've seen his
cat.
hair too back then, and Dave had hair,
It
legit
was,
hair.
yes, he was happening.
Hey, but I'm tell you what, I really wouldn't. I liked Barry Manilow's songs, but that was a great concert. I was really jealous that Bill Apter got to go to Radio City Music Hall and see him this week.
Really? He went this week, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Oh,
cool.
how cool.
Bill Apter, not to get sidetracked, because I love Bill Apter. I could listen to that guy talk forever.
Oh, I love it.
As you guys know, I don't really participate, on those Apter chats, but that's for obvious reasons.
I just want to do an episode with him where all we talk about is music, because me and him match up. Our musical tastes are about the same.
I love,
yes, knowledge of things.
Yes, he does. And he wants to get to know you, and he wants to know where are you from and what are you, he just loves to talk to people. I think he loves people, and it really shows. And so I love it too. I love listening to him. And like you said, just send him off on a tangent. I mean, he has stories about everybody. He knows all kinds of things, little things you have, you just nuggets that you didn't even know existed. And so
He did a really good job on the Magnum TA episode of Dark Side of the Ring this week.
Yes. Oh yes, I love that. Was good. That was
I haven't
really
watched
good.
it yet, but I've heard nothing but good things on it.
Yes. And Magnum was on there, which is nice. I mean, sometimes it's not always a good story, that they're having to retell. So,
We'll talk about that at the top of the show next week.
Yes. Sorry.
So now we're going to move on to 1983 World Class Championship Wrestling. We watched the episode was recorded on 1/7 of 83 at the Dallas Sportatorium, and the episodes aired on 1/15 and 1/22 of 1983. They would tape the World Class Championship Wrestling show. They do 2 episodes every other Friday from the Sportatorium. To give you a little context of what was going on Monday night, they ran Fort Worth. And that's where they taped the Saturday night wrestling show that was on KTVT Channel 11, which was a super station. On 1/3 of 83, Wild Bill Irwin defeated Frank Dusek, which really stood out to me because they teamed up a lot. And both those guys were heels. So I don't know what the circumstance that would have pitted those two men against each other, other than Bill Irwin. I mean, Frank Dusek was on his way out of the territory in early 83. Mm-hmm. So Kevin Von Erich defeated Checkmate. Checkmate was oh man, I'm gonna blank on this, who he was. I want to say he was Les Thornton under a mask, the man of 1,000 holds. Mm-hmm. He did a lot of, I mean, if you put him in a hold, he had a counter for it. Kabuki defeated Al Madrill to win the TV title. I remember that Al Madrill and Kabuki feuded a lot. Al Madrill was making his mission because Kabuki had a nerve hold, and I know that Madrill really took exception. He took exception to that nerve hold, and that was Al Madrill's mission, was to stop Kabuki from using it. We had Bugsy McGraw to a draw with Terry Gordy.
Interesting.
A time limit draw. Bugsy was red hot. Bugsy was red hot in 83. He had just become he had been a heel. He had just turned face. So they featured Bugsy in it's probably a 10-minute draw.
So they both kind of come out okay because it's a draw. Like, no, you know what I mean? Terry Gordy is, I mean, not that Bugsy McGraw was, I mean, he had that, wasn't he the one that like drug a toy behind him?
No, Ivan Putski did that. Ivan Putski did that early in his career. Bugsy would dress up like a gorilla, throw pies in faces, did a lot of Three Stooges slapstick stuff.
Got you.
Then Michael Hayes defeated the Samoan. The Samoan was actually Samu.
Really?
Yes, who would later team with Fatu and become the Samoan SWAT team.
SST.
Fatu being Rikichi.
Was the Samoan not like it's just interesting that they let Michael Hayes beat the Samoan, but Terry Gordy but Terry Gordy wrestled to a draw with
Yeah,
Bugsy. Is that just because Bugsy was, like you said, more on fire or
could
whatever?
have been, or it could have been Michael Hayes might have defeated that could have been the television main event.
Hmm.
That could have been. It might have been 2 out of 3 falls.
I got
The
you.
television main event was always 2 out of 3 falls. Then Andre the Giant. This would have been a dark match. You wouldn't have seen this on television. Andre the Giant defeated King Kong Bundy in an over the top rope match. And
That would have been interesting.
and,
You know?
well, yeah. And it's funny because we'll get to it when we get to the world class ones. But you can tell that Andre's going to be on this episode. So this was Andre's week in the territory.
I got you. Because I can't remember. Was Bundy bald at this time, or did he still have hair?
Yeah.
He was
Yeah,
bald.
Bundy
at
was
this
bald.
point. We're no
Yeah, he
longer
lost
from
that.
Alaska and all that stuff,
Well, they
right?
still announced him from Alaska in the clip we watched this week. You
Oh,
obviously
okay.
didn't do your homework, but they said he was bald and he lost the title to the Von Erichs.
Now you cannot assume that I did not do my homework. I just forgot because it all
That's
kind
all
of
right.
starts running together a little bit. Hey, Tim.
Stop it. No, I'm kidding.
Welcome, Tim. Timmy C joined us in the chat. Brian Harims is here, who Bill Apter nicknamed Otis Putski because he does look like like Otis and Ivan Putski had a love child.
Fantastic.
So we're going to move on to the. We started off this one with season 2, episode 1, where we're seeing the first appearance of Buddy Roberts. You got to keep in mind that we're coming off of Christmas. Christmas of '82 was when the Freebirds won the 6-man title. David stepped in for Buddy because he had travel issues and couldn't make it. So now Buddy's in the territory. They do a little interview with him, kind of established him. And then he gets in the ring and he goes to a time limit draw with Brian Adias. I thought it was interesting that it went to a time limit draw, but Brian Adias was being, that's Kerry Von Erich's high school friend. I mean, that's his sheep best friend. So they featured Brian Adias and Buddy Roberts into a 10-minute time limit draw.
He's the guy that's on the what is it? It was a documentary they did about the Von Erich, or maybe it was a Dark Side of the Ring. Like I've seen that.
Yes, Brian Adias was on one of the Tales of the Territories.
That's what it was. Tales of the Territory. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I knew I'd seen that name before.
Yeah, Brian's active on he's active on Facebook now. I mean, for a long time he didn't really want anything to do with wrestling, but he's kind of come back around on it.
I might have to make him my friend.
Maybe we ought to see if we can ask him pretty please to come on the show one of these days. Then next we have a feature. They do a feature with the Freebirds. The Freebirds at home, and they're playing pool. And the audio was horrible.
I don't know what the hell they were thinking, not turning that damn music off, because you couldn't even hear what Michael and Gordy were trying to say.
It was hard. They didn't mix it very well. I'm sure they were actually playing Leonard Skinner's Freebird, and they had to change the music. I'm sure that's what because they would have been playing Freebird in the background.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the whole bar pool room vibe that they were trying to give off.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I got tickled when I thought about this because later you'd see the Freebirds at home, and it was like a rough. They were embracing the bad street, but here you are. They're like in a library, like they're reading books.
They look like they're in their parents' home, and they've their parents are like snooty upper professionals, and they took over the library.
Then they hung the Georgia flag up.
Yeah, they hang the Georgia flag up, and then they put Gordy on the mic, and he's got that real slow, soft-spoken way talking about you're in my home.
Well, Bill Mercer.
Exactly.
You're coming to my home.
And Brian,
Gordy would go, Mark Lawrence, it's been a long time coming, Daddy.
And
I love
I
Terry
think
Gordy.
I was gonna say, I think Bryant, I mean, doesn't everybody play pool shirtless? Like, I think that's just all the pool halls up in Kentucky. That's how they do it here.
Well, they're at home.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you're
And
lucky Michael had pants on. Damn.
yeah, really.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I think,
then
yeah.
so then we go into Michael Hayes versus Al Madril. And this was what blew my mind is that Al Madril and Michael Hayes are having a match. And I don't even really think that Hayes was using him up that bad. And Jose Lothario interferes to help Madril. Madril's the face here.
Right.
So it really struck me that Hayes gets a DQ win because Lothario is having none of Michael Hayes' crap, and he jumps in there to help Al Madril. I just didn't see anything that was so egregious that it would require outside interference. You don't see the faces do that very often.
Right.
But Al Madril, trust me, Al Madril and Jose Lothario were over. They were over huge. And then
Do you think that was just to kind of solidify that he's so bad you just don't even know what he's going to do? Or, I mean, like you said, why would,
I'm
because like
thinking
this is right after all of that happened with the Von Erich. So, like, are they just really trying to play up like these are some really bad guys? They're going to do whatever. He's a loose cannon. I mean, I don't know. I'm just thinking.
well, yeah, maybe they were rallying the troops. And it does seem like that Michael Hayes did have serious matches with Jose Lothario because they were going out of their way to try to avoid the Von Erichs at this point.
Oh, I could see that.
So now we're going to have David Manning come in.
Look at that! Look at that hair. The leather jacket. I mean,
that necklace. That necklace is a Texas. Is the shape of Texas. It's like diamond encrusted with the shape of Texas. And then that jacket. I swear, when I met him in 2016, he was wearing that jacket.
Would not shock me.
And hey, I'm not making fun of it. I really dug it.
Right.
I should have got the picture off the wall so I could show y'all.
Yeah. I wish, if I had one wish in wrestling, it would be to be able to meet Andre the Giant, stand next to him, put my hand up against his, and just take in how big of a man he is.
Well, we're going to get there, but we're going to get there, but in 1982, that was a working some bitch.
Exactly.
I mean, you're working up against Gordy, and Gordy's one of the best workers in the world. And the Giant held his own. And I'm not talking about that he couldn't do whatever he wanted to anybody in that ring. I'm talking about that his cardio held up, his selling held up. He looked good in that match.
Yeah.
Well,
but most of us only remember the Andre with the bad back that got body slammed in Detroit.
Well, this interview, David Manning's explaining the rules for this 6-man elimination match. And it's funny because Andre comes in, he says, yeah, it's just like a battle royal, it's just less people.
So Dave,
I win them all the time.
Dave, did you see Andre the Giant in the ring at Sportatorium?
I did. He tag teamed with the Iceman King Parsons against the Super Destroyers.
What did you think about the size? I mean, like,
I could not. His fingers are what I noticed. How big his fingers were.
Yeah, well, if you look at the picture and you look at his hand, which is down by his side, just to look at the announce, or I don't know who this man is. Who is this?
That's Bill Mercer.
Bill Mercer, that's right. Holding up the mic, and you see how small his hand. Look at the comparison. It's unreal how big of a hand he had.
Oh yeah,
and that's just what you saw. Like I mean,
he was massive.
I mean, crazy.
I want to do a solo layout real quick.
Oh yeah. Yes, that's totally the jacket.
Same jacket.
That is definitely the same jacket, or at least a version of it.
That's either the same jacket or that's his thing.
Yeah, he likes those jackets.
I love me some David Manning. I'm telling you.
You should ask him to come on the show.
Oh, David Manning is so good. He's got the storyteller voice. From Dark Side of the Ring to the book that we were doing to the special he did with Conrad for us on AFS.
Yes.
Yeah, David Manning is fantastic. I can listen to him. I can listen to David Crockett talk all day.
Yes.
Well,
I
I
mean,
wanted
they
to
are
be David Manning.
so much fun.
I mean, David Manning was in your face. He was, that's the referee I wanted to be
Right.
because I knew I was too little to be a wrestler.
Did you know he was the booker when you
I had
thought
no
that?
idea. We didn't know that back then.
I'm just asking because
Yeah.
some of this booking, and I know I told you jokingly, Dave, that I was writing a roast about WCCW just for you, but
Oh,
some of
but
this
Andrew,
some of the
real
booking
quick,
is very 50-50.
let me,
Very 50-50.
let me tell you, David Manning, when he booked, he's probably booking the spot shows because I know Gary Hart was doing a lot of the booking.
Well, okay, forget Manning, whoever it was. This booking on these two shows you guys we're covering, they are very 50-50. To your
Yeah.
point, you introduce Buddy Jack Roberts only to have him wrestle to a draw. You don't have a real good angle with Jose Lothario and why he's there in WCCW. And then what was the other one that we saw? It was that
Terry Gordy.
Brian Adias and the Buddy Roberts, but yeah, Terry Gordy going to the draw too. And I know they used the draw back then as a finish to continue the story, but he also didn't really. The good part of the booking was you didn't know if the Freebirds did it on purpose yet, and I don't know if we're going to get there. I'm not trying to jump the shark, but you didn't know that Bam Bam and Michael Hayes set that up for Gary to lose necessarily. At least the way it was presented in the recaps.
It was really presented that they got pissed off during the match.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That they had no intention of screwing him and all
And
that
painted
stuff.
the picture that Hayes was power hungry.
Yeah, yeah.
And that'll be in the second episode of these two episodes. And also right here, I mean, these two episodes, you're going to see the same people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these guys wrestled. I mean, they wrestled twice that night, and but the world class shows weren't like going to a WWE event, or they didn't just like go to the ring, match is over, up the ramp, bring out the next one. I mean, sometimes you'd have 10 or 15 minutes between each match.
Why?
I mean,
Do you know why?
they just did it that way.
That's just the way they did it. What'd
That's
y'all
just
do?
how they did it. But they gave you a chance to go get some beer and get some French fries, and
So they didn't really have like a popcorn let up match, bathroom break. Like they really didn't have anything like that
no, I
necessarily.
mean they had like intermissions between each match. You didn't get them.
Interesting.
They did have those matches, Amy. We just haven't gotten there. It's Bundy's match.
But here we go with the 6-man elimination. Wild Bill Irwin, Bugsy McGraw, King Kong Bundy, Terry Gordy, Kerry Von Erich. They made it a point to say Kerry wanted in this because he wanted Terry Gordy. Gordy comes out. Michael Hayes is at ringside. And as soon as Kerry hits the ring, he goes after Gordy. I mean, everybody's not in the ring yet, and Kerry and Gordy are brawling. I mean, it looks like full-blown fight, pull apart. It was believable. I mean, they were really going at it. And then they finally got Andre got in the ring, and so then they get it going. It was funny that Bugsy kind of pulled Kerry back, but he had his back to Kerry. Like Kerry couldn't get around him. Like he was just holding him back by keeping his back to him, backing up. But Hayes jumped up. I mean, Hayes went after Kerry. Kerry paid attention to Hayes, so Gordy was able to eliminate him. And then Kerry went back. I mean, he wasn't done. He was still trying to get Gordy. And they finally they sent people out from the back to get him and get him to go back to the back. But the only purpose there, we were demonstrating that Kerry's really pissed off about what happened to him on Christmas, and he blames Gordy more. I mean, he wanted Gordy on this episode. Gordy was his focal point. They finally get him to leave. Then Bugsy's out next. Then Wild Bill Irwin gets out. But the thing that got me about this match, and I don't know if you noticed it, Andrew, Andre the Giant went after Terry Gordy like he wronged him.
And that's what I was saying when you were picking the picture up. Andre was working in this match. I mean, there's a big credit to Gordy, obviously, but Andre had he had a gas tank in this match because, to your point, Dave, when he got in that ring, they never stopped.
No.
And they never stopped, of course, till you eliminate Andre. But
the story was 3 of them beating on Andre.
Yeah.
And Andre had Terry Gordy around the throat, and he wasn't letting go.
Yeah. They never stopped. And who knows if Gordy did something? Because, Andre used to screw with people in the ring. And what the hell were you going to say to the Giant,
Yeah.
But Gordy's not necessarily one that I would think would, A, offend Andre, and B, Andre would dick with, because Terry was a legit badass.
Right.
They did mention.
I know he's the Giant, but I mean, Gordy would throw a damn beer bottle at him or something,
And they did make reference to somebody was trying. I think Bundy tried to body slam Andre, and they made it a point to point out that Harley Race was the only one that had ever done that.
Yep, Harley Race is the only one to ever. I caught that too, and I was so happy that whoever was on commentary said it, because obviously the myth was Hulk Hogan, but there's plenty of footage of Harley doing it. First, it was outside the ring. So
yeah, I love it. They said somebody asked Harley that Andre let you slam him because I didn't ask him. So Hayes pissed Andre off. So when Hayes pissed Andre off, Andre went after him, but by doing so, Andre stepped over the top rope.
Yep.
And he eliminated himself that way.
Safe booking. Keep him the star, keep him established, but get the heat where you want to put it.
Right, and because you would think that Andre's going to win this thing.
Right.
Hands down. Yeah, you don't bring the Giant in to lose.
So Andre was eliminated. Gordy brawls with Bundy, and that's who he eliminated for the win.
Yep.
So then they cut, after the commercial break, they cut to an interview with Kerry Von Erich and Brian Adias.
Ugh.
And that, they just they were talking about that Brian Adias was going to get Terry Gordy on the next episode. And Kerry was saying that he would be at ringside as Brian Adias' manager.
I'll be real honest with you, Pondwater. I've cut more interesting promos at the Taco Bell 6 sheets to the wind trying to get my fucking Crunchwrap Supreme than Kerry Von Erich did at the end of this show. There is nothing he said that makes me want to watch the next episode. That was god-awful, hot garbage, and I don't know why anyone thought putting a microphone in front of Kerry Von Erich was a good idea.
Your volley, Pondwater.
It was 1983, man. It was 1983, and he was just, and
he was a Von Erich, and so I don't even know.
Yeah, that's all. All he had to do was flex.
That's right.
Look at Brad.
Talk about flexing.
Sure. But you believed that he
wanted to kick. Was the promo, but he won't it.
But you believed that he wanted to kick Terry Gordy's ass.
I guess if you could get through the glass-colored eyes and him stammering over his words, acting like an absolute jackass.
Well, so
homie was inebriated. I'm an expert in the category.
So we come back and we start the second episode, and I'm guessing it's going to be they're going to show an encore match because we have limited talent on this TV taping. And they show an encore of Kevin defending the American belt against King Kong Bundy from Reunion Arena, Christmas 1982, week 4. Bundy got DQ'd because he pulled David Manning in front of him. Kevin jumped off the top rope. He pulled Manning, and Manning got hit by Kevin off the top rope. And then Bundy actually threw Kevin over the top rope, which would have caused a disqualification, but Manning didn't see that. He just disqualified Bundy solely on pulling the ref in front of the the ref getting bumped that way. And, it was a good finish.
But did you see David's reaction? That was he was pissed off. At least that's the way it looked. And you didn't see that all the time from a referee.
Yeah, Manning was fiery, dude. He had actually had a match with Captain Frank Dusek the year before. He was getting picked on. He was getting picked on by Frank Dusek, and he ended up having a match with Dusek. And later on, he actually had a feud with Buddy Roberts. Buddy Roberts was doing the same thing.
David Manning had a feud with Buddy Roberts.
Yeah, because if you'll remember the episode we covered with the hair match,
yes,
the Iceman didn't win that match, and Roberts ended up losing his hair.
Yes, yes.
So that was kind of the catalyst that he blamed David Manning. David Manning's screwing me.
That's right.
And he started picking on Manning, which led to Manning, and that's how good Buddy Roberts was. Buddy Roberts was drawing money with the Iceman. Buddy Roberts was drawing money with a referee. Buddy Roberts could get enough heat to generate interest with whoever he was working with.
Right. Well, and like we talked about before, Buddy Roberts was the veteran, the worker of the group. Terry and Michael Hayes were still very, very young wrestling-wise. So that makes total sense that, with Buddy being the veteran and as be a good worker as he was, that he could mix it up with a variety of personalities, and he did.
Well, next up, we have a studio interview. They're really pushing hard on interviewing all the principals. They want to talk to the Freebirds about why you did it. They want to talk to David Manning. They'll talk to David Manning about how was Hayes. They're going to talk to Kerry and show Kerry the video, and talk to Kerry about how it went. And Kerry's sitting there in studio wearing a fur coat, which I got tickled at. You got to love the 80s.
Exactly. Are you saying the Von Erichs aren't doing it for you, Andrew?
No. Kerry is high as a mofo, and had no business with a microphone in his hand. Like I said, I'm an expert on the subject. Just was never a friend of his chemicals. But the bottom line is he did a terrible promo. He's not selling tickets, and the only reason that he was as big a star as he was in WCCW was because of his last name. And there is my shot.
He wasn't selling tickets.
He won't selling tickets with his words. Let me put it that way.
Oh, okay.
He ain't talking people into the building,
dude.
He was talking girls because he was kissing them all on the way in.
Oh yeah. Let me tell you.
I get that he's the eye candy. Don't get me wrong. Amazing physique. What I'm saying is, he ain't pulling the Ric Flair. He ain't pulling the Arn Anderson. He's not Dusty Rhodes. He's not Tully Blanchard. He's not J.J. Dillon. He ain't talking them into the building. He ain't going to put 15,000 in the Omni or whatever Reunion Arena with his promo.
Right. No. He is no Arn Anderson. I'll give you that.
The Von Erichs were gods in Dallas. When they went to Six Flags, it shut the damn park down. They didn't. They were like that Elvis.
They had to
that
for
Elvis
safety,
reaction,
right? They had to for safety.
Yeah, some of it they didn't have a choice. I'd imagine they'd never make it in or out of the park.
It was hard for them to have a normal life.
Yeah.
All right, then we got Gordy.
They really were celebrities. I get that. I'm not dismissing Kerry Von Erich's family lineage or even his in-ring work. I'm saying he's not the person I'd put on the mic to be trying to sell tickets.
No, David was definitely the strongest promo of the bunch. Then we went to Terry Gordy versus Brian Adias. Kerry was at ringside. Kerry was calling Michael Hayes, "Hey, why don't you come on down? Come on down." Mm-hmm. Gordy was really selling how much he did not like Kerry Von Erich being at ringside. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Gordy wasn't happy about it, and he defeats Adias with the pile driver, but not until Michael Hayes had creeped down to ringside. And when Kerry saw him, they got to John, and David Manning got Kerry to go back around to his corner where he needed to be. And then he ended up chasing Hayes. He chased him around. Hayes went up in the ring, out of the ring. Kerry came through, in and out of the ring. The chase was on. And And Brian Diaz took his attention off Terry Gordy, like, I need Kerry down here. Kerry, come on back down.
Right.
He's got his back to Gordy. Gordy takes over. Gordy beats him with the pile driver. He decides he's going to do it again. So Kerry jumps in and makes the save. We're not going to use him up tonight. And Kerry starts getting his licks in on Gordy. Gordy takes the tremendous over the top rope bump to the floor from Kerry hit him. I believe Kerry hit him with a discus punch.
And did you see he was laughing on the way out though?
Oh, Gordy?
Gordy won't selling it after he took the bump off the discus punch.
Gordy had that smile on his face, like, I'm gonna get you, Daddy. I'm gonna get you.
Right. I can see him not selling. I mean, just not like even if it did hurt, I'm not gonna let you know it hurt. You know what I mean? Like I could see that as part of that character, that tough guy character.
And with the interesting thing about this match was Gordy and Kerry and Adias come to the ring, and Kerry still looks like he looked from the interview from the week before.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
I don't know if I noticed it in 1983, but now knowing how they did their television tapings. Then we go to David Manning. He's being interviewed about the cage match and Michael Hayes, what his mindset was.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And actually, this is just that's not from that actual interview, but the only thing that David Manning did different for that episode is he took the jacket off, but he still had that shirt on with his Texas necklace prominent. I'm telling you, we had Texas Nugget rings, Texas Nugget necklaces.
Oh, I know.
I wish I still had my Texas Nugget ring.
I do too. Then I could mock you for owning such an atrocity.
What finger did you wear it on? Like, how big was it? Like a pinky ring? Like, what was it?
No, it was you've seen that ring. You've seen my diamond ring I normally wear.
Uh-huh.
It's about the same size. I mean, it was a big nugget. It was.
Did you wear that with your Barry Manilow shirt?
3/4 sleeve, by the way.
I didn't have the nugget ring for a few years.
Let's not even talk about his pants or that hairstyle.
Exactly. And can I just say, as much as I hate to say Brad Stanton's name, he does put something in their chat that I think is really interesting and a reminder.
We got heat with Brad Stanton?
I don't. He doesn't.
Got heat with him forever because she doesn't play fuck, marry, kill right.
I do play it.
Even I know this.
Right. Andrew, now listen. I played that game perfectly right. He had no rules, and so whenever I did something, he gets all bent out of shape. And so we just don't. Anyway, he reminds me that there is the Von Erich movie coming out. And Thrillbilly Silas Mason, someone they've had on Kickout Crew, is actually playing Terry Gordy. There's a lot of independent wrestlers who are going to be in that Iron Claw movie playing, pieces of the Von Erichs. Is it true? Is MJF really playing? Who was
MJF playing Lance?
Lance, that's right. Who is playing Gino? Is he in it? Hernandez.
I don't know.
See, I don't either. But I don't.
You can bring up IMDb and it'll tell you who else playing. There's lots of characters in it.
That's gonna be a real interesting. When is it supposed to come out?
Cassidy Riley that recently retired is in the movie. He's a wrestler.
Dolph's brother.
I actually had somebody reach out to me. I had somebody reach out to me to ask me because they put my name on the list as an extra because they were filming in Baton Rouge, which is only about 3 hours from my house. And I hope
you said yes.
I had my fingers crossed, but I never got the call. And I would have been there.
You should have just showed up and just say, "Hey,
exactly.
Y'all need anything today?"
Don't you know who I am? I counted Ric Flair's last match, even though his shoulders were down. And
where's my trailer?
Play the referee for World Class Championship Wrestling.
Don't come on my show with that bullshit.
Hey, who's playing? Who is playing David Manning? Do we know?
We'd have to bring up the IMDb to look.
Okay, that's fine. I just think, like I said, I think it's really interesting. That reminds me that movie is coming out, and that's going to be another resurgence of Von Erich information and history. And
I think we're going to start seeing a lot of the Von Erichs because they've moved back to Texas. They have They've actually bought a
Yes, I
ranch.
saw that.
They bought a ranch in down by Fredericksburg, and it has a wedding venue. It's a wedding venue and an event venue. Their Von Erich Ranch is it's really beautiful. You can see it on Instagram. They have their own account set up for it. But I think with the family living back in Texas, it's going to help with Marshall and Ross getting booked. But I think it's going to be really, for the promotion of the movie.
Right.
I mean, it's a lot easier to work out of Texas than it is Hawaii.
Are either one of them playing their dad?
No.
Oh.
No, Zac Efron's playing Kevin.
I thought he was playing Carrie. I'm sorry.
No.
I thought he was playing Carrie. I don't know.
No, he's playing Kevin. I had totally forgotten this movie was coming out.
I did
we
too.
didn't miss David Manning.
I'm excited for it.
I did too, Andrew. I mean, I of course, I guess it was maybe last summer, whatever. We saw all the shirtless pictures of Zac Efron and having been worked out, getting himself in shape for this movie, and different people have been trickling saying that who different characters are going to be. Oh,
and of course they had to name it the Iron Claw. My goodness.
That Holt fellow that's playing Fritz, Holt McClaney.
Yeah.
Melanie, he really looks the part too.
That's cool. The lady who's playing Doris, she used to be on ER. Do y'all remember her? I'm sure she's been in other things before, but since. This is going to be a great, like I said, I really think it's going to be a good movie. Chavo Guerrero.
Ryan Nemeth
is Gino.
Surely
they're going to have David Manning, right? Or do you think they're just going to have referees and not really give him a name?
Yeah, probably not. But I don't know. Okay. You would have thought that David Manning would have been an integral part of the movie.
I know. Who's Harley Race?
Particularly, and I didn't mean to cut you either of you off. He is the story keeper, the gatekeeper of the Von Erich legacy, other than Kevin, because all the rest of them are dead.
Right.
I mean, he's the one who has all the stories, all the insight. He may know things that the sons didn't know because he worked so close to Fritz.
And maybe he's a contributor or producer. I mean, he could be something else with the movie.
You had pointed it out yesterday, I think, Pondwater, on our Top Guy chat, that whenever Bruce Pritchard, or it might have been Epic, whenever Bruce Pritchard retires, there's hopefully going to be stories, but ultimately he's going to be the secret keeper for Vince McMahon.
Right.
He'll be the master of whispers. Anything that Vince did that Bruce thinks would put him in a really bad light, he's never going to say. I would say that David has that same respect for Fritz Von Erich, and I could be misreading the situation. I don't know. But he was very much an advisor and a confidant to him, so you would think he certainly would be part of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll have to watch it and see.
I'm looking forward to the movie coming out.
Definitely.
I mean, early reports is it's going to be really good. So, I mean, I've been told that Von Erich Mania is going to be running wild next year, and I was told by somebody in the collecting community that I've got a wall in here that's going to become very valuable.
Ooh, look at you. Those that yellow pair of tights.
I was going to say, you've got one of the best collections. I think I tell you that every time I see it, but Von Erichs or not, I don't care who it is. Phenomenal collection.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, yes, definitely.
All right. So we get King Kong Bundy before he gets in the match. He's gonna wrestle the Samoans, which we've established is Samu.
Who's our little? What's this little referee's name? What's his name?
Bronco Lubitsch.
Bronco. That's what it was. Sorry.
Bronco. Yeah.
Bronco did it all. Bronco was a wrestler. Bronco was a manager, and later in life, Bronco was a referee. Also, Bronco was he worked closely with Fritz. And Fritz, it's Bronco's handwriting that's in Fritz's day planner, in his calendar, in his book.
I love it.
He's the one that was writing all the stuff down. That's his penmanship. So anyway, Bundy, before the match, he's down there and he's griping about that match being shown. He said, going forward, there will be no footage of me shown without express written consent of Devastation Incorporated. I now belong to Devastation Incorporated, and the man is coming. And he gets in the ring. He ends up squashing, and it's funny because when he splashes the Samoan, I mean, he's on top of him probably for a good 3 count before Bronco even gets down there, decides to start counting.
I didn't make it through this match in time. Is this Bundy still doing the 5 count gimmick?
No, he didn't do the 5 count. That was in Mid-South.
Was that in Mid-South only?
It was in Mid-South when he did the 5 count gimmick in Mid-South, and he might have done it in Georgia also, but he didn't do the 5 count.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to.
He didn't do the 5 count in World Class, but and then after the match, he got back down there again, and he reiterated, "I'm in Devastation Incorporated. The man is coming." And Kabuki, he's bringing Kabuki with him. Kabuki is in Devastation Incorporated.
Yep.
So I'm assuming that this time Gary Hart had left. Gary Hart had left. We knew that Hussein had lost the loser leave town match at Christmas. So H&H Enterprises had disbanded. Bundy was integral in turning on them, showing the cancel check for the bounty that was put on Kerry in 82. So now Bundy works for the man who will later be revealed as Skandar Akbar. Spoiler alert, 40 years later. So we got Devastation Incorporated coming to World Class. Hey, Megan Nelson's joined us in the chat. Hi, Megan. Thanks for popping in. Also, there's some Thomas Crown had joined us too and made a really good point about what Kerry was missing. He said that reliability and promos were really what he was missing, but he had all the other stuff. And we thank Thomas for joining in and participating. So that's how we wrapped up that episode. The man's coming and he's bringing Kabuki with him.
I like it. Like lead you into. I mean, you've got the big Von Erichs and the Freebirds, but then you still like, okay, who's this? Like, you've got all these interesting characters, and what is he talking about? And I mean, kind of keeps you wanting to come back. You've seen Kerry and Terry running around. Kerry wants to get hold of them, and it's taking every opportunity that's available to them, to do that. And now you've got like this other group. You're like, I wonder what's going on there.
So we're gonna have some fun with it. We're gonna have some fun diving into World Class. If I can find some Fort Worth footage, because WWE doesn't own Fort Worth footage, and the only thing that's out there from Fort Worth is what anybody actually taped, and some people share on YouTube. Because
interesting.
Well, they didn't save the tapes. They reused them everywhere. And the Fort Worth show was Saturday Night Wrestling.
How cool is that?
And they were really they were that's what I did every Saturday night. Is I'd get home from work, jump up in the middle of the bed with a half gallon of ice cream and watch wrestling.
How old were you? And what did you say? What were you? 17? In 83?
I turned 17 in 83.
Yeah.
I actually spent my 17th birthday watching Kevin Von Erich versus Ric Flair.
Nice.
At the actual match, or were you watching it on TV? Or what were you?
No, I was actually an actual match. Yeah.
At the Sportatorium? Some things.
No, actually it was Fair Park. It was Fair Park Coliseum.
Uh-huh.
That was where that infamous Terry Gordy hitting that fan and knocking him about 3 rows back happened.
That show or just that?
Yeah, that show.
That show.
Yes.
So you got to see that too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he cracked the shit out of him.
Well, you should have been doing that, right?
Oh boy, didn't lose a cigarette though.
He should have been standing there, as some of my fun friends say.
Oh, I can't wait. But that's going to be that happened in April, so we're just in the first part of January. Like I said, next week it's the Frank Bruno show.
Yeah.
Where we're going to do WrestleMania 19, Shawn Michaels versus Jericho. We'll be back in 2 weeks with we're probably going to go ahead and knock out our bonus episode, or they're not bonus. So we might do them as bonus. We'll we're going to have the Mike Bober show and then the Eddie Prather show. We're not doing Eddie Prather until Eddie Prather is going last, because after we're all gather in Huntsville for Top Guy Weekend, I'm going to get Eddie Prather on a mechanical bull, and that's going to be video gold.
Amy, light the candles.
Exactly.
Light your candles, honey.
Go ahead. I'm getting them ready.
There's going to be 50 of us with our phones ready. And Eddie.
Hey, you're making fun of Amy about going to church lighting candles. I'm gonna share a church story with you. They've recently at church, they started asking me to help out with the Lord's Supper, passing the plate. And every week you say, and when you get up there to do the Lord's Supper, you say a prayer for the loaf, and then you do that, and then you say a prayer for the wine. And he'll ask me if I want to say the prayer, and I'm like, no. And then I felt bad about it, and I'm like, but I'm not I've never really been a public prayer. And
is it more like a heart prayer? Like it's not a set prayer. It's just whatever you want to say.
This isn't the Catholic Church. We don't have our lines.
Damn.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you,
Catholic, I know exactly what he's talking about.
Man, I'm telling you, when Sarah was born, her mama was Catholic, so she was baptized Catholic, and we'd go to the Catholic Church, and they don't let you fall asleep because you got to stand up and sit down and stand up and sit down.
We only have
it was like Rocky Horror, because everybody had their words. He goes, they say something about peace, then peace to you. And I just remember that I'm like, because I grew up Baptist, we sit on our hands.
Well, at least I know.
Anyway, back to my story. I decided I'm going to go ahead. When he asked me about it, he asked me about doing the prayer, and I'm like, I'll do it. Well, because in my mind, I've cut a promo before. I'm not scared to talk in church. I'm not scared to talk in front of people. So I'm up here.
You looked at it as cutting a promo?
Well, I mean, I'm talking. So I get up there, but here's the part.
But go ahead, keep going.
Here's the part that cracked me up, because I'm doing the wine, the fruit of the vine. Well, immediately I'm thinking about Dusty Rhodes being the bull of the woods. So I'm up there trying not to sound, and I about half popped myself with the fruit of the vine. But I guess I did a pretty good job, because I got a card in the mail from one of the ladies that goes to our church, and it was a handwritten card, and she told me that it meant so much to her that I did that, and she really complimented me, because it's not very often that you can hear and understand the words during one of the prayers at church. So
see, that was sweet.
But I had myself psyched out, so I just took it back to that when I was the chief of staff, Dr. Phil Payne.
Yes.
And the medics told me like 30 seconds before we went out there, grab the mic and cut a promo. So I didn't have time to think about it. I just had to do it.
Right. I like it.
So no, I didn't go in there and cut a promo on Satan or anything. I just blessed the wine. So.
God, imagine Dusty going over Kill, Steal, and Destroy. Now you got me wanting to hear Dusty preach. What's wrong with you?
Oh yeah, he would have been a good.
He'd have been great.
He was already doing it. He was already doing Dusty Rhodes was doing a preacher bit every Saturday on the Superstation. My hand touching your hand.
Exactly. Hard times,
Dusty Rhodes could have told people to reach around and grab the wires behind their television and shock the shit out of them.
He could have told them
and they'd have done
that and help him in his quest to beat Ric Flair. Send me $5.99 to. He could have had people sending him money.
He'd been the best televangelist they'd ever had.
Exactly.
Oh, Big Dusty. Oh, that's good stuff.
Anyway, I just thought I wanted to share that. I'm not being sacrilegious when I say that. I'm just telling you the mindset. But the fruit of the vine and the bull of the woods got together for me, and I was just trying.
I think it's hilarious.
I do too, and it would have been funny.
Hey, if they ever get me early in the sermon, I'm gonna work in walk that aisle.
Yeah, I've never been asked to pray at church publicly. I go to a fairly large church. The best I get to do is greet all the new people at the door. They trust someone like me with that responsibility. And I'll let you all just simmer on that.
Look at Allison's profile picture. Look at her looking all hot and
Oh yeah, she did her blowout blonde. We're ready for Top Guy
That's
weekend,
right.
guys.
She's
We
not
are
just
not lying
looking
about
hot. She
this.
is hot.
I
Oh,
didn't say that.
And we're not. I did, and I've got no vested interest. We're not lying about this shit. The Supra is going down to Atlanta, and then we're hitting Huntsville. We'll
Oh,
be
I'm riding
there.
with Andrew.
Well, you're gonna ride on Allison's lap because it's only a two-seater.
Okay.
But we're gonna have a good time all the way down there. She's putting the music list together allegedly, but I've been putting one together on the other side just in case she forgot.
I feel
And
like we need videos too of footage of this ride. I want to see that because I will be coming in a different direction, so I will not get to be
Oh, that
in the
would be so
vehicle.
great if you had a
Amy
dash
was
cam and like on the road, like one of those shows at the what do they call
like
it?
carpool karaoke.
Oh,
No,
that'd be great
or
too.
like yeah, I mean just like they have the police cam videos and stuff like where you could see everything that's going on.
You can
That'd be
ask
This
fun.
is
Stephanie. You can ask Stephanie. I'm in concert the whole time we're on a road trip because I
you're
know
damn right.
I
I
can't
don't care
remember
what
nothing
the
she told me last week, but I know every word from every song from the 70s and 80s.
Hey, make sure
yes.
you sing the top 5 from 1983, January 15th.
Yeah, I don't know
Make sure
about
you
all
hit
that.
Man Eater. Come on now, that's a
Well,
good one.
man eater, that's my thing. Yeah, exactly. I've been called worse. But but I was gonna say this was Amy's idea, and all of our friends on the chat can appreciate this. So Allison lives in Connecticut. I live in North lives in
Oh, you
Kentucky.
muted. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm not.
Sorry.
Well, somebody muted me because I'm talking about you. Um,
Was it me?
yeah. Okay. Hands up where I can see them.
Hands up.
No, this is serious though. Amy's like, so guys, what if we all rode together? Like Andrew, you go pick Allison up in Atlanta and drive your ass to Kentucky, and then we all go to Huntsville together. I'm like, Amy, do you realize that is literally of driving around your ass to find your elbow?
Andrew,
Because
it's only that far on the map.
That's true. That's very true.
it is a 10.5 hour drive from my house to the Holiday Inn Express. And I can't wait for the top guys to invade that venue. Um,
For
Last
those
year,
that
we
don't know
about
what
got
we're
kicked
talking
out of the
about,
one in Chicago.
a large group of our friends were going to be in Huntsville, Alabama, the week after Father's Day, weekend after Father's Day,
We're
and
all going to get together and talk wrestling, watch wrestling,
fellowship and have a
see
great time.
people with wrestling, and just, yeah, a lot of us hadn't seen each other in a year. So it's going to be really fun.
And I wanted to
Looking
say
forward
something at
to
the top of the show, and now because I've already let loose. But as for professional wrestling, I said it last week. I will keep saying it. It should be a T-shirt. Professional wrestling brought all of our crazy asses, mine included, together. And it's professional wrestling that introduced us and made us all friends.
it.
And nobody can ever take that away from us. And showed him died. That's something that's been on my mind. You could say it's been on my heart since we got a little religious earlier. That's fine. I got a little spiritual, but I wouldn't know either of you without professional wrestling, without Conrad, without Starcast, without ad-free shows. Wouldn't know either of you. Wouldn't know either of you. Wouldn't know Allison. Wouldn't know Eddie. God, without professional wrestling. And Eddie, I'm
Hey,
joking. But the bottom
every
line
every
is, it's
rose
what brought us
every
together.
rose has its thorns.
That's right. Oh, that's
Exactly.
another good one. Another good song.
But that's the point, is that I don't think we should ever take for granted what this soap opera, the drama, the love of, and I tease you about WCCW, it Dave me about the NWA. It's professional wrestling that brought us all together. And 2 weeks from today, according to Terry's calendar, because he sends a text to us every morning, we're all going to get to have a good time in Huntsville and get to
Exactly.
celebrate each other and hopefully celebrate Josh Odom, even if it's for just a couple minutes, because of what he did for all of us. And I do appreciate and think what you guys did as part of that was amazing. Also great to see the reunion of the Saved by the Pod, because that's where I first met Paul Bromwell. So, and obviously Paulie B and I worked together on Orange Show and that sort of stuff, and he's become one of my best friends. But again, to the point, all professional wrestling did that. I can never have enough professional wrestling friends because you guys are awesome. So I'll leave it right there.
That's a good place to end it.
Yes, I agree.
So, Andrew, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. You're always welcome here with us. We always have a good time when you're here. The First Lady of the Arn Anderson
Appreciate you
Fan
guys.
Club, Amy Vine. I'm Pondwater Dave, and we want to thank you for joining us, and we are out.